Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? And welcome to the Melvin Live Show. Tonight, I would want to share with you a story. Now, this story is about me, and I want to give you a little bit of a insight into what's going on in my life. You see, in 2013, I was going through a period of rapid changes, and during this time, one of the key event that happened in my life was, of course, the birth of my second child. Now, during the time itself, I was essentially kind of became aware of what's going on in my life. And one of the things that I was focusing on was with the work that I do, am I able to continue doing the work that I do? Because up until that point in time, I was doing exceedingly well as a one person consulting business. You see, although I was doing exceedingly well, I was in fact trading time for money. And so, with the second child now, I wanted to see if there is a way for me to really invest time with my family. And I had a firm belief that I wanted to be able to be with them uh, during the formative years itself. But then I realized that one of the things was that if I were to spend more time with them, what that would mean is that I would be spending less time at work. And so, one of the greatest revolution that I had was that I was actually trading time for money because when I stopped working, the money stopped. And that spun me into this period of feeling really concerned and become worried to a certain extent that I fell into depression. But at the point in time, I thought that I would be able to handle it. I will be able to overcome. Um, Several years later, I would then notice that the situation has gotten worse. Although I was never really suffering from any sort of a financial difficulties, I was having this vivid imagination in my mind that things are going to go wrong. And with that, with those thoughts swimming in my head, it certainly didn't help when I started seeing my income being impacted and that I began to see that I was no longer competitive. And so that plunged me deeper into that state of mind. And then in 2019, I told myself that I think now is the time for me to address the issue. And and so I told my wife, I say that, look, what I'm going through right now, it's a struggle. And what I'm really looking forward to is to be able to build positive relationship with my kids as well as my wife. And so I mentioned that I would want to be able to handle this situation. And by handling this situation means that I want to seek professional help. And because I believe that with professional help, I would then be able to get myself at least to baseline in terms of my state of mind. And at least once I'm there at the baseline, I would then be able to stack other kind of support on top of that. And so I did that. Uh, I took the step in 2019 and I went to seek a medical professional help. And it was tremendously helpful because 2 months into my medication, I started to see improvement. And not only did I see improvement, I was actually able to overcome many of the struggles that I once used to have. And so at that point in time, once I kind of got back to the baseline, I've kind of improved. I then requested to see a psychologist. And the psychologist was mainly the idea of seeing the psychologist, it's really to be able to identify strategies to help me manage myself as well as to be able to be functional. And I must say that I am glad to have taken that step in 2019 because had I not taken that step in 2019, I might not be able to pull through in 2020 because in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, I went into a legal tussle with a client who refused to pay. Of course, over time, the the case was being dismissed by the judge and to say that they have breached the contract. But the point is that at the point in time, I was going through a tremendous amount of stress and sleepless nights. Just going through that whole episode itself was just tremendously ugly. And then, of course, the next thing that happened was COVID came in. And with COVID, the whole process itself kind of just locked me in. And now that we are in November, and when I was just looking back at what happened in 2020, I am just glad that I've sought professional help because when shit happens, I was able to not just maintain my composure. Sure, I mean, I went through a period of feeling stress, but I was able to handle the situation and yet be able to function and yet be able to still continue to build relationship with my family. And so I thought that that was extremely, extremely helpful. Now, how does this link to what I want to talk about here today? Because today, the topic that I want to share with you, it's about SEO. And how does this relate to what I just shared with you, right? So when I first started my business, my online business, when I wanted to make the transition, I used to think that, I have no need for all this SEO tricks and techniques because my belief was that once you build it, they will come. And if my content is so good, I do not need all this SEO bullshit. I just need to put it out there and people are going to find me. Now, obviously, I was wrong because over time, I was only able to reach a very small group of people. And that was when I realized that by not leveraging SEO, by not understanding how SEO works, by not being smart about implementing an SEO strategy, I'm actually doing myself a disfavor. And so that's why in 2019, I started looking at SEO in a very methodological way. This is when I started to examine and started to study what exactly is SEO and what are some of the things that I could do to win or to at least to say that I have looked into SEO and I am able to take advantage of this whole technique itself. So, my friends, my advice to you is especially if you are building this one person, 1 million all digital business, and if you want to automate your business, what do you need to really look at? It's SEO strategy. Because in the long run, this is what's going to be hugely beneficial to you. And with that itself, you would then have a sustainable strategy and a sustainable machine to be able to help you achieve that goal. So let's dive a little bit deep into how this whole thing works in case you're not familiar. So, search engine optimization or SEO, basically what it means is as follows. Now, the people that you want to reach, your audience, they have a problem. And because they recognize that they have that problem itself, they have begun searching for a solution. Now, what's going to happen is if during their search, your article or your solution comes up as one of the solution as suggested by Google or any search engine, what's that going to happen? It's going to help you get found by your audience. And so that's what essentially SEO means. So, for instance, if you are searching to build a one person, 1 million business, and you will be typing that in, chances are you are going to find my videos and my content because that's where I talked about this topic itself. So you have a problem. Your problem is how do I build a business like that? How do I do it in such a way that I'm able to achieve that goal? But you are not sure how to go about doing it. And so where I come in is I share with you how do you start the journey? How do you embrace the solution? How do you automate? How do you build assets? How do you accelerate? I will share with you the framework of how you can design your business. I'll share with you how you could focus on a key aspect that your audience want, right? And how you can keep things simple, how you can be strategic, and how you can think in a systemic way. And so once you see all that, you are going to be introduced to my content. And this is when you get to discover me. And as you discover me and you see that I continually, consistently provide good and valuable information for you and actionable advice to you, that's where we're going to build this trust. And when we build this trust over time, it's just going to lead to us exploring, working together. And so, my friends, if you have not paid attention to SEO itself, I suggest that you start right away. Okay? And so, if you found this video to be useful, please give me a thumbs up because, like I said, this helps other people like you find this piece of content. And the other thing is, if you want more topics like this, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. And very soon we'll be announcing something big that will be able to help you take your dream of what building a 1-person, 1 million all digital business and make it into a reality. And with that, my name is Melvin, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.